Convicted sex offenders busted just outside the Green Bay city limits. Police arrested 3 men yesterday. All were living in a landmark motel on the corner of Holmgren Way and Lombardy Avenue in Ashwaubenon. Good evening, everyone. So how many registered sex offenders are too many in one area?
Well, as of yesterday, at least 9 of the 19 rooms were occupied by convicted sex offenders. Now, tonight we have live team coverage looking at several different angles. First, how and why did so many offenders end up on this corner? Also, we'll look at what neighbors are saying and what impact this all may have. We begin tonight with a look at how these registered offenders ended up at a motel just blocks away from Lambeau Field. We'll also explain how some would actually like to get out. Fox 11's Becky DeVries joins us live near the motel with balanced coverage.
Well, the Department of Corrections confirms 3 convicted sex offenders were arrested here yesterday. The DOC will not say why because the investigations are still open. The DOC says sex offender ordinances like the one that Green Bay has can make it difficult for convicted sex offenders to find a place to live, but the city of Green Bay says its ordinance is working. Tuesday afternoon, 3 convicted sex offenders were arrested at the Arena Motel in Ashwaubenon, right next to the Fox 11 studios. State records show 9 registered sex offenders living at the motel.
The Department of Corrections is having difficulty finding locations for where to place these offenders, and because of the residency restrictions.
Green Bay's sex offender ordinance, which restricts offenders from living near parks, schools, and other places children gather, has been in effect for more than 2 years now. A convicted sex offender who wants to move into Green Bay must get approval from the city's Sex Offender Residency Board.
It just happens that the Arena Motel, working with the Department of Corrections, has allowed sex offenders to be able to live there.
Many of the offenders living at the Arena Motel have tried to move here in the last few months, a temporary living facility in the city of Green Bay run by the Department of Corrections. However, the city's Sex Offender Residency Board denied many of those requests to live here for various reasons.
The board's job is to approve people who they think would be good neighbors, and if they are denying some, whether it's East or West Side or the TLP, they're approving more than they're denying.
Mayor Schmidt says since Green Bay's sex offender ordinance has been in effect, the board has approved 55% of the requests from sex offenders to move into the city and denied 45%. The Department of Corrections says the temporary living facility allows people to get their feet on the ground and also informs the community of where they are. But because of Green Bay's ordinance, some offenders cannot live there. Some simply don't register. Others turn to the Arena Motel.
It is not ideal, but when you're left with not a lot of choices, this is the best that the Department of Corrections has at this point in time.
Again, there are 9 registered sex offenders registered to this motel. There are a total of 499 registered sex offenders in Brown County. I tried to get a hold of the owner of the Arena Motel today, as well as some of the registered sex offenders registered to the motel, but I was unable to get a hold of any of them for an interview. By the way, the village of Ashwaubenon does have regulations and restrictions pertaining to child sex offenders, where they can live and where they can spend time. This area is not restricted. Live in Ashwaubenon, Becky DeVries, Fox 11 News.